Hi, my name is Ron Anderson. I've been working on a project for quite a while, having a lot of fun with it. Thought I'd share it with the world. So let's get started. I've got a collection here of things that you need to basically get your Stratocaster converted to USB. Now, this is what I call the MVP version. It's the minimum viable product. There's a lot more things you can do with some other features, some other things, and accessory boards, but this will get you from your magnetic pickups onto this board here. This is the Black Pearl board, which is the focus of this presentation. It consolidates everything you need in this for this function. So it takes the magnetic pickup signals and brings them onto this board and ships them out to the 5-way switch, and the signal comes back out of the 5-way switch into a little connector here that goes to your volume control and tone controls. If you still have them, if you want them, keep them. And then it brings it back from there into a codec. So there's a codec here, which is a coder decoder. It's an acronym for that. And what that does is it converts the analog signal from your electric guitar into digital, and then it sends it to this other board. This is called the Teensy 4.0. It's manufactured by a company in Sherwood called pjrc. I think it's all lowercase. And then that rides on top of here, and it's connected with some of these header pins. These are 0.1 inch on center, and so they just fit through these holes here, and it solders onto there. And then there's a cable here that's inside the guitar that plugs into the Teensy, like so. Okay, like that. And then it comes through the hole. So if I can show this, all of this control stuff fits inside this cavity here, and you have to drill a hole, pretty big hole, to get this fat connector through. So this is a pretty fat end of this thing, so you need to have a bigger hole to get through there. But once you get into this cavity here, you can have this jack plate that fits on there like that. Just fits in the right holes. And then the other end of this thing, this one here, it screws onto the back of there, and then you need a cable like this. I prefer a right angle out of this thing, so that when it's in your guitar, you can, if you orient it like that, you can drape it over your strap, so it provides a little bit of strain relief. And then the other end of that just goes right into your laptop if you have a USB connector like that. And Bob's your uncle. You have your guitar, electric guitar, your Stratocaster is now recognized by your computer and all the VST programs that are running on that. Assuming you have a VST host, and a lot of the models for all the amplifiers and speakers and pedals, effects pedals and all that stuff, all the sounds that. Now, what this thing does, the cool thing about this is that on this 5-way switch, there are two poles. There's a pole that selects the which pickup that you're using, and the other one selects which tone control. There's two different tone controls on a Stratocaster, and depending on the switch position, it'll engage a different tone. Well, what I'm doing is I'm taking those. I'm not using the tone controls. So your tone controls are not going to be used in the conventional way, if at all. So what I'm doing is I'm reading these pins on the processor and determining what position the switch is in. And the cool thing about the USB is that you can send MIDI program in addition to the audio. So the audio is going over the USB cable, but so is MIDI information. So as you change the switch position, it's going to recognize, oh, I just changed the switch position. And so now you have a different MIDI program change message that your VST program will recognize and change everything. Now, you're worried about losing your tone control. Well, in the VST world, you can change an entire EQ curve. You know, whatever. If you want to do something simple like change, have a different. What's that? Gibson had a we call it Veritone. They had a Veritone switch. I know my first guitar player, my first guitar teacher had he had a ES335, and he had it in the shop for quite a while. But when he got it back, he had this Veritone switch in there that they modified. They put it in there, so you can get a I think ES345, what it is, that has that built into it. But you can do that basically what it is, it's just a 5-way switch, I think, that has different capacitors. It changes the tone instead of, I mean, it has discrete tone positions so that you can replicate a certain tone. Well, welcome to the 21st century, because now you can do that, but you can do it really simply with just a single pole filter for every one of these switches. But why do that when you can have an entire EQ curve for every position? Not only that, you can have a different pedal board for every switch position. So if you only have 5 different sounds that you like, this is a good solution for you, because you just have this, like Leo Fender, he wanted this 5-way switch, so you have 5 different kinds of sounds to play while you're playing, and in this way it gives you 5 incredibly different voices. Now, the way I've got mine set up and programmed, because this is a program, make no mistake, this is a program, but really it's very simple. It's a very simple program. It's easy to learn, and I'll eventually do some tutorials about that. But what this allows, what you can do, well, there's a lot more you can do, so I'll save a lot of that for later. Let me just talk about these other things here. So these are little connectors here that go into these holes. On the other side of this board has these little, I don't know if you can see that, but they have outlines. That tells you which side of the board you're going to put these things on. So you know, that'll be on there, something like that. Don't take my word for it. It's either that way or the other. I'll have it straightened out when I do the actual assembly. But basically what I'm saying is that these guys here will go here in these positions, and you'll solder them on, because you have to have some soldering skill when you do this, when you build this. This is not a you don't go to the music store and buy this, at least not yet. Maybe somebody will have a value-added business, but and then you just solder these ends here, and that will stay on there. And then these guys will plug right into there. Now, how do you get your wires from your pickup onto here? Well, they're usually an unfinished wire, sort of a wire end, like if you can see that, like that. And usually those are soldered onto your pot or your switch or whatever. In this case, what you're going to do is you're going to solder that thing onto the end of your wire. But before you do that, you're going to slide in one of these heat shrink tubing and put it out of the way, solder it, and then you slide it. Once it's soldered good, you slide that over and you melt it. You basically heat it up with your soldering iron or a match or whatever, and it'll shrink up and make that a nice tight connection. And you want that to be as short as possible, because you really, you really want, well, you want it to be shielded, and if you're really fancy, you can get a shielded pickup like these Seymour Duncans. They're Stratocaster. I love these things, and that's another feature you get when you step up to the next model here. When you step up beyond the minimum viable product, you can do some other cool things with that. But at any rate, so once you've got that soldered onto there, then you just slide that. Okay, there's some small holes here. You can see that. The other side has some big holes, and if you look on the side here, there's some latches here, and there's a little hook on here, so when you push that in there, it will stay and it will lock into place. And if you want to get it out, you're going to have an X-Acto knife and a lot of patience, but you can do it. But you want to make sure that you get it in the right position when you put that in there. But once you've got it in there, all you have to do is plug it in there, and you're done. And then it's really a clean assembly. So, a couple more things here. There's one. There's cable tie. So what do you do with the cable tie? Well, I got some holes right here for the cable tie, and I think probably, yeah, if this processor is on this side, which it is, because that's, if you see the line that surrounds that box, that's where the Teensy goes, and so you want, I think you go in one way here. Don't follow my advice right now, but this is, I'm just showing you what this does. So this goes here, and then that goes there, and then this goes through here. And when you're ready to when you have your cable in there and you want to lock it into place, you just pull this thing until it's, or maybe you do it on the other side. I don't know. What I'm saying is, it's probably why I'll never do a live. But at any rate, that will keep the cable from ripping off the, you know, when this thing gets jerked around when you're installing it, you could easily rip off that surface mount USB connector. So in order to keep from doing that, you want to prevent the extreme motion of this cable as it's being moved around and inserted in your guitar. So that's just a safety feature, because you don't want to wonder, you know, plug it in and say, why isn't this working? Well, you get it open, you find out the USB cable's connector's been ripped off. So at any rate, so that's pretty cool. I mean, that's a useful feature. And then there are a lot of other things to talk about. There's one other little connection. There's this one connection here. This is kind of a mystery. And I think that goes to the ground. That's ground. There's a reset line here somewhere. And I'm not seeing it right now, but trust me, it's there. Oh, it's probably this one, J10. So this thing goes into there, like that. And then you have to have a cable like this, you know, a 0.1 header, and that slides into there. And you just cut this to length and solder the other end to this this little tab here. And then when you're putting on your jack plate, you want to make sure that this lines up with one of your screws that's holding down, not the jack plate, yeah, the scratch guard. Because at some point, the Teensy may complain about a program that didn't load, and they'll be telling you to press this little button here. Little button. Can't see it, little white. Oh, let me bring it up here. The little white button there. Well, since it's inside your guitar, you can't press that button. But I've allowed for that, because all you have to do is short this lead, which is now being touched by a screw. You just have to short that to ground, and it's pretty easy to do because most guitar strings are grounded. They're tied in. And that's another thing you have to do. There's another connection on here that's called ground. So when you put this in your guitar, that has to be attached to ground for your guitar. You know, basically it's usually like the wiggle bar, you know, the well, there's a your tremolo bar, your vibrato bar, whatever people are calling it these days. It connects electrically to all the strings, and that's when you take your hand off your guitar, it doesn't make noise. So so that spring clamp claw is usually connected to ground, and so you have to connect this board to that claw in order to make this button enable so that you can press this virtual button by grounding that tab. So I think that's the whole thing. I think that's everything for this presentation, for this minimal viable product. We'll talk about the next project later. And I think that's it. So there's my, I don't know if you can see this, but where is it? Up this way is a QR code to my website. There's my logo over here, and then that's the name of my little retirement business over Can you tell I've never done this before? So it's over here, down there in that corner. All right. Well, all right. Ron Anderson signing off.